Let's start with the chanting first, the Shanti part. Om Sahna Vavatu Sahno Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Gananam Tva Ganpatigam Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Ana Shrinvannuti Sid Sadhanam. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwarah Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. And the Mangalacharan for the text. वासुदेवेन्द्र योगीन्द्रं नत्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुं मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते. So welcome everyone. We are starting this text on Tattwabodha. We have approached almost the end of the text where we'll be going into the part where we have covered Jivan Muktaha, the first part, the person who is liberated. And from that portion, we came to a question. So we'll just look into the text first. This we have discussed, so just read it through. Nanu Jivan Muktakah Yatha Deoham Purushoham Brahmanoham Shudroham Asmi Iti Drid Nischayah Tatha Naham Brahmanah Na Shudrah Na Purushah Kintu Asangah Satchidananda Swarupah Prakash Swarupah Sarvantaryami चिदाकाश रूपो अस्मि इति दृढ़ निश्चय रूपः अपरोक्ष ज्ञानवान जीवन मुक्तः. Then ब्रह्मेव अस्मि इति अपरोक्ष ज्ञानेन निखिल कर्म बंध विनिर्मुक्त स्यात्. So this is the triggering point where the next series of questions is to come from. First, the Jivan Muktaha is defined, the liberated person. Who is the Jivan Muktaha? For the common person, his perception is I am functioning through this body, so I am this body. That is his common misconception. Yatha Dehoham, Purushoham, I am a person, a gender identification. Brahmanoham, identification according to the Varna or Shudraha, both the same. Shuddha aham asmi iti dhrida nischaya. That is the strong conviction of the common person. Because the consciousness is functioning through all of these centers, the identification is so strong that the person sees, or that consciousness appears to be like this, like the uh, center through which it is functioning. So I identify myself as the body, as the mind, and as the intellect, and so on. But for the Jivan Mukta, what is that person? He is removed. He has removed all his identifications. He has given up all those identifications. So tatha na aham brahmana. He has no identification of varnaha, na brahmanaha, na shudraha, no na purushaha, na kintu asangaha. His identification is with his true inner infinite nature. What is that infinite nature? Asangaha, unattached to anything. Satchidananda Swarupaha. We saw this in very much detail Sat, Chit, and Anand Swarup of the nature of existence, consciousness, bliss. And then Prakash Rupaha. I illumine all the subjects, all the objects around me. I am the subject. Sarvantaryami, the consciousness pervading through every individual, the one and only infinite consciousness. And Chidakash Rupa Asmi iti, of the nature of Chidakash, consciousness. Uh, so Drid Nischay Rupa Aparoksh Gyanvan. He is Drid Nischay. His conviction is very, very strong that he is pure consciousness or existence consciousness, bliss. We use that in one single word because that is the nature of Atma, right? Atma. He sees himself as Atma. And aparoksh jnanman, his knowledge is not something of an like the knowledge of an object, not neither something far away that is paroksha jnana or neither something close to himself, so that is pratyaksha jnana. So something in front of me, I know, I see. Yes. So, so aparoksh Gyanvan, his knowledge is aparoksh of the nature of his own self, not nothing separate from myself, right? Aparoksh. So paroksh is something far away from me, pratyaksh is something right in front of me, but aparoksh is me, myself itself, right? So that is the person who is Jivan Mukta. So this we have seen. So Brahma eva अहम अस्मि इति अपरोक्ष ज्ञानेन निखिल कर्म बंध विनिर्मुक्तः स्यात्. So that person, so that jnani who has ascertained his nature as Brahman, as the infinite essence of everything. So he sees himself as Aham Brahma, Brahmasmi. So that person with that aparoksh jnana, he is liberated from all the karma bandhanams, all the bondages of karmas, right? So vinirmukta sat, he is liberated. So now comes the question of the student. He is ready to latch on to any new word that is coming up. So he sees, till now he's been discussing the nature of the Atma. Now Atma is Akarta. We have seen Atma being one. There is nothing for it to act upon. So there can be no action within the Atma because it is infinite. There is nowhere for it to reach because it is everywhere. There is nowhere for it to go. There is nowhere for it to act upon because there is nothing other than itself. Everything is Atma. So, by the logic of Vedanta, we saw that that something, one thing cannot act upon itself. So that by that rule, Atma cannot have any action. But then again, action is coming. How is action coming here? For the jnani, there is no action, but for the common person, there is action. So he asks, Karmani kati vidhani santi iti chet. How many kinds of karmas are there? So the teacher answers, Agami sanchit prarabdha bhedena trividhani santi. So this we explored. This we saw that there are three kinds of karmas: the agami, sanchit, and prarabdha bhedena. So sanchit we saw first. Sanchit is the one is the sum total of all the actions that we have done so far. Sum total of all the actions that we have done so far. They are stored in the sukshma shariram in as in our chittam as sanskaras, and of course in the karan sharir as our vasanas. So these vasanas are become the cause or they are the seed. So so the karan sharir or the causal body is the seed form of the individual, just as the karan avastha of the universe is also the seed form of the universe. So in this way, from this arises the jiva for the next birth also. All these uh, karmas they are stored there. So when they are stored there, how are they going to produce the next body? All the karmas that are stored there, they are infinite numbers from all previous birth. But as we saw that everything has its own time of maturity, right? So everything has its own time of maturity. So by that law of maturity, like every tree has its time when it grows up or when it bears fruit, similarly every karma has its time for bearing fruit. So all the karmas which are ready or ripe for maturing, they are the ones that will give us the fruit, become available for this current birth. So all the karmas that are available for this current birth, they will be the prarabdha. They will form the prarabdha. So prarabdha is the karma phalas that are supposed to bear fruit in this birth. So bear fruit, we saw clearly. Fruit may be for any physical karma, physical action. It may be a fruit or an actual object, but it is not necessarily an object when it is the fruit of anything that we have done at the level of intent. At the level of intent. So anything that we have done at the subtle level, it will bring for us a situation, right? So everything intent हमारी इच्छा क्या है, what we want to do or how we want to do something, right? So मैं क्या करना चाहता हूँ, so that intent will decide, or I have hurt someone, I have done good to someone. So there is some intent behind that, right? So every karma, we saw earlier also that there are different, what we call, uh, different kinds of impulses that guide us to a karma. So for any karma, what are the decisive factors? The decisive factors are that first of all, there has to be kartritvam. There has to be kartritvam, the doership. I am the doer of a karma, right? So that kartritvam has to be there. Then secondly, it has to be vidhi nishedhatmaka. Vidhi nishedhatmaka. Any karma will have to have a certain kind of uh, law, that is a certain kind of rule that says this karma should be done or this should not be done. Vidhi nishedh. Vidhi, this should be done. Nishedh, this should not be done. So that is given to us by the Shastras. And accordingly, if we do the right thing, we get good karma phalam. If we do the wrong thing, we get bad karma phalam. Right? So in this way, and it is a very simple logic. Whatever we do, something that we do, we would like to have it done to ourselves. Then if that is good, then it will bear a good result. Right? So that vidhi nishedhatmak is the rule. And so we also saw that karma is a very simple philosophy. It is based on the fact, simple relationship of cause and effect. Karan or Karya, Karan, Karya. That relationship will always follow. So that is why it is cyclic. It is karma is cyclic. So in karma, we have just one action will lead you to a sequence of karmas which will keep on strengthening your what we call behavior or nature towards doing that action, right? So whenever I enjoy one ice cream, I will like to have another one. So when I keep going for that ice cream again and again, it will become a habit, right? So that habit then slowly also matures into what we call, all those together they form our character. So all these karmas, they are helping us to form a huge set of karmas, which is what we call the sanchit karma. From that, few are ready for maturity. They are the prarabdha karma. And then there is the third kind is the what we call agami karma, the ones that we are doing in this life, right? So in that also, there are certain karmas that we will be ready to bear fruit in this life itself also. So they will also get added to my prarabdham, right? They will get added here. But of course, some of them will then go and get added to my sanchit karma. They will get added there and they will bear fruit in some future life, right? So we saw many examples like Bhishma Pitama, we saw on lying on the bed of arrows. He did some wrong action. He used to kill small insects by piercing them with a thorn, and that is why he had to lay on bed lay on a bed of thorns. So these things are told to us by the rishis who could see into the past, or maybe even when our own intellect is pure enough. But the funny thing about the intellect is when it becomes pure enough, you don't want to go into the past. You want to live in the present, right? So that is how it works. So when we do all these karmas, they all bring about different situations in our life. So some may bring good situations, some may bring bad situations. Also, there is the fact that doing a karma will bring a situation. Sometimes not doing a karma will also bring a situation. So that concept will come into later on. So this far we have seen about the three kinds of karmas: Prarabdh, Prarabdh, Sanchit, and agami karma. So these are basically the three kinds of actions, three categories or groups of actions that we can put together, where all these actions bring about the effects of all the things that are happening to us around our life. And karma theory is a very beautiful theory. It helps us understand that whatever is happening to me has happened to some time, something that I myself did in some past janma or maybe in this janma, and it stops us from blame shifting. It stops us from blame shifting. Right. We always try to, blame someone else for our situation. But whereas something in our past might also have come. Then I also told you about those cases where we are moving up in sadhana. Whenever we are moving upwards in sadhana, then also tough situations will come. And so they are not due to bad karma or something bad that I did. They are coming so that I can prove to the universe that I'm ready to go on to the next stage. Right. So that also is another part. So that we'll see when we see the nitya, namitik, kamya karma, and then prayaschit and finally the Nishiddha karmas. So that we'll look into later on. But right now, let us now take a back gear. Right? We'll be taking a back gear. Go and trace the source from where all this is coming. The source from which all the karmas are coming. So we have understood clearly that this cause and effect relationship should be there. Now, if this cause and effect relationship doesn't happen, then what will be the fallout? We have to remember then Karan and Karya, cause and effect are there. So if I remove the Karan, what will happen? If I remove the cause, then the effect will become beginningless. So that is the serious flaw. So Vedanta or any of our Shastras don't accept this. They say every cause has to have an effect, right? And anything cannot come out without an effect, or nothing can come out of nothing, right? So like there is the principle of some say in some philosophies that from nothing something has come about. So that we say is not only illogical, it is impossible. So that karya karan avastha is to be there. And secondly, also because all these karma are being at the universal level, they are being witnessed by the universal consciousness, right? Ishvara. So Ishvara is the consciousness of the whole universe. So he will have to give the karma phalas according to everyone's own karma. So when he's giving that, then it cannot be in any case wrong, right? So like someone has done some good karma, he didn't get the result. So that will be a dosha. That will be a serious flaw. That what will be the flaw? We saw it will be called negrinya dosh. That means he has some hatred towards someone. He didn't give someone. Huh? Or he has given someone didn't do something good or some karma, and yet he got a result. That means he will have pakshapat, favoritism. So this dosh cannot be there in Ishvara because Ishvara is impartial, right? Because whole universe is his body. So nothing is, no one will want to hurt oneself or no one will want to get what they are not due. That is not the way the law of karma works. So when we are now, first we saw ourselves at the level of Atma. At the level of Atma, I am infinite. There is no action within me. But then Atma will manifest all the actions. So if we look at the uh, chart that we saw at the time of where we showed the manifestation. So the existence principle, Satchitananda, that will manifest the universe through what we call the Maya Shakti. The Maya is the power of Brahman, nothing separate or nothing having an independent existence. Maya is dependent upon this Brahman. So this Maya will create the whole universe out of first a disturbance in its center, which will produce the three gunas, the three basic gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. So these are the three gunas out of which the whole universe is produced. We saw in detail how each of these act upon all the elements and then they split them up into three each. And so we get the jnanendriyas, the karmendriyas, and the vishaya, the objects of experience, right? So these three elements, now we will understand how they are related to the karmas, actions, right? So this sattva, rajas, and tamas. So if we know the nature of these three, sattva is knowledge related. Sattva is related to purity. It is the lightest of the three gunas. It is related to jnanam. Then Rajas is the middle layer, activity, inner, the power of doing something, symbolized by the red color. And then finally, Tamas, the inertia part. Because in any system, there has to be a system of rest also. Unless we rest, we cannot recuperate and come back refreshed for the next set of karma or next set of activities. So all these three kinds of uh, these three gunas, these three major gunas, they all prompt us to behave in certain manners. Whatever guna is there with for us, that guna will affect us and that will prompt us to act in certain manner. So we can just label them for short because we'll need this nomenclature to understand their presence in the individuals. So we can say Sattva S, we can say Rajas R, and Tamas T. Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. So now, if there is a person having one guna in excess, then what will happen, right? Because they are always in a state of imbalance. So if we will write S R T, Sattva is more, little bit of Rajas is there. But that Rajas is also guiding that Sattva because nothing can exist without all three gunas. Huh? Even Ishvara is Vishuddha Sattvam, but that smallest bit of Tamas and Rajas is there. Otherwise, universe will not be created. So this Sattva guna is highest in one category of people that we give them the name of Varnas. Varna is a color in basic language, but Varna means our propensity, our proclivity, और हमें जो करने की इच्छा होती है, जिस तरह हमारा भाव होता है, the kind of nature that we have, स्वभाव that we have. So our स्वभाव or nature depends on the percentages of each guna within us, right? So sattva is more, rajas is less, and tamas very less. That is the that is the configuration of a person who will be inclined more towards knowledge. So who is going to be inclined more towards knowledge? Can anyone guess?
Sattva.
Mm-hmm.
Sattva, sir.
Yes, sattva. Yes, sattva is there, but what person? What kind of? I'm talking about the varnas now.
Brahmana.
Brahmana, right? Yes, good. So Brahmana will be there. Urshila has answered. Urshita? Yes. Okay. Yes. Good. Very good. So Brahman will be the one who will be more inclined towards pursuit of knowledge. So that is how those gunas will decide what will be our nature. So whatever karmas that we have done in our previous birth, if they are more of the sattva kind, I will be more inclined towards knowledge, and that will become my varna in my next birth or whatever succeeding births that are coming up. So that person will be a Brahmana. So that Brahmana will now be engaged more towards the pursuit of knowledge and teaching of the scriptures to all the other Varnas or all the other people who want to learn from him, his children, because every child is given education in the beginning, or whoever desires. Some don't desire, they don't go for it. Every child doesn't go to school. But yes, they were taught by these Brahmanas. And then second comes the activity part where activity increases. So Rajas increases. So then R, S, T. So that is where Rajas is more the tendency to do activities, tendency to be very, protective of others. That kind of activity is there. And there is always Sattva also, and there is some level of Tamas also. So that belongs to RST, that is the Kshatriya. The Kshatriya, the person who is of the ruling class, or the person who is of the soldierly class, or the person who is in charge of protecting people, right? So that is Rajas. And then next is the with Rajas being more, but next is then the Vaishya. So in the Vaishya, what is there? There are equal quantities of Rajas and Sattva, but there is some Tamas also. The Tamas here slightly increases, right? So Rajas and Sattva are more are both there, almost in, you can say, equal proportions. Not like in the Kshatriya where Rajas is dominating. So they are in equal proportion, but tamas has also increased a little bit because then he also wants to enjoy his wealth. He wants to rest and relax also a lot. So he has all these three in sort of similar balance, but tamas is still much less. So that person will be engaged in the pursuits of generation of wealth, creating wealth, earning money, making money, using it for the welfare of society, and so on. So that becomes the third. And then finally, tamas is more, sattva is very less, and rajas is a little bit more than that. That belongs to the Shudra. So the Shudra is the fourth category. So all these categories are depending upon the gunas. So in Gita also, Bhagavan Krishna says, Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtva Guna Karma Vibhagasha. He says clearly that I have created them. Why has he created them? Because there has to be an order in the universe, right? For every kind of beauty, every kind of requirement in the universe, you need different kinds of people, right? So that is why these varnas are created. They are very necessary part of society. Today we have given them up because we feel that everyone is equal, everyone deserves a chance at knowledge, right? They seem noble, words, but actually speaking, our Hindu Shastras say equality at the level of samatvam, all proceeding from the same origin is okay, right? हम सब एक हैं उस हिसाब से. But equality in the form of individual qualities, no. Everyone is not equal. Everyone is unique. Unique is the word we use, right? Unique is the word. And everyone, through their uniqueness, has something to contribute to the world. We all have something to contribute to the world. And so, now, if we are into jnanam, into knowledge, then we are beyond ego. Nothing is going to bring us back into the world to be born again. We will not need to be born again, right? Now, when we are born here, then when if we are given free rein, जो मर्जी करना है करो, do whatever you want to, then we will tend to destroy nature. We will tend to destroy society. There will be disorder in society. So these gunas and these varnas are created by the Lord to maintain the smooth flow of society and maintain the smooth flow of nature. Why? Because through them, he gives us all our duty. सबका एक एक स्वभाव है, सबका एक एक स्वधर्म है. So we'll come to these two terms also. So everyone has their nature. He is given duties according to that. So when you do something as a duty, kartavya, when you do something as a duty, then that duty becomes something that I'm doing for a greater good for the society, right? My own good also. Of course, because I am also a part of society. So when I do this, all these actions, then I am given a place in society from where I have to function. So when I do something for the society, my ego is diminished. So my ego is less. So if be it for the Brahman, be it for the Shudra, be it for the Vaishya, be it for the Kshatriya, all are given the guidelines. So their ego is less. They do more and more for the society, more and more for everyone around them. So that is why Brahman, even though he has knowledge, he is not given lot of wealth. He's taught to live within sparse, with a very simple lifestyle, living with very simple clothes, even though by today's standards, a person with so much knowledge should be given lots of money, right? A teacher should have high salaries and so on. So that is today's lookout because it is based purely on the materialistic philosophy of everything being weighed by money, right? So there the way was not on money. And that is why the changing from one varna to other was discouraged. So we'll come to that also. So basically, when these four varnas are decided, then they help the all of the people who are within each varna to stick to their duty, and thereby that doership, kartitva abhimanam, that ego, or here we will use the word ahankar. So ahankar doesn't increase that much. So then they all perform within society. Everyone sticks to their roles, and that is why all are available to do whatever works are needed in society. For every strata of society, people are available. So today, what is happening? Everyone wants to be a doctor. Everyone wants to be an engineer, scientist, even though they are not capable. Also, lot of them. right? They don't have the intellect, they don't. So if someone has the intellectual capacity, then fine, they can shift from their varna, but they have to prove it. And also within the varna, also staying within that, you can indulge in your creativity, your activity, that kind of, that is given to us through what we call our jati. So we'll come to that next. So when we are looking at this, all these four varnas are given certain duties. So when they stick to their duties, they maintain order in the society. Today, a lower strata has gone out. So another religion has come to take place of that strata. And they are also converting the people from our lower strata to that religion. Because our people don't want to stay in that lower strata. So they shift to other religions where other religions say, promise them sort of equality. But that is a false equality. When they go there, they learn, or they are not even intelligent enough to learn. But earlier, the Shraddha was there. Everyone stuck to their duties, and because of that, the society was smoothly run, very smoothly run. But now we have ourselves given it up, and we are suffering the consequences of that. So whenever someone says caste system is bad, let us understand we are talking about Varna Vyavastha, which is different from the current status of caste system. Varna Vyavastha is a caste system in a way, but Varna Vyavastha also is recognizing the potential of everyone and utilizing that potential to the maximum so that society functions smoothly. So when that through that one vyavastha, everyone is given particular duties, then they stick to those duties and they are able to uh, together build no part of society is neglected. So accordingly, then, because of their nature, which we call swabhava, that swabhava is formed out of lot of practice, right? Lot of practice, lot of our whatever actions we do, whatever kind of inclinations are more towards that we gravitate. हम उस तरफ जाते हैं. We just quickly look at this karma chakra also so that we can understand this thing. So this is the cycle of action. So whenever we do any action, then because of doing that action, as we saw the law of action and cause and effect, we get some kind of fruit for that. Karma produces karma phalam, right? So fruit is reduced. So fruit is produced from that fruit. When we enjoy that fruit, we get what we call bhoga. We enjoy that fruit of our actions, right? So when that fruit is enjoyed, from that is produced some kind of impression on my mind, impression. So that is called sanskara. So in Hindi sanskara, Sanskrit samskara, so whatever. So that samskara, when it is formed on our mind, it forms an impression. Out of those impressions, there are some that are from which I'm neutral to. There are some, but there are some that for which I am against them, or some that I'm for them. So some are positive impressions, some are negative impressions. So those strongly positive impressions and those strongly negative impressions, they are what they form my vasanas. They form the deeper impressions within me that dictate my proclivities in nature, what I would like to do, what I don't like to do. My likes and dislikes are decided by my vasanas, right? And those vasanas, the more we indulge in them, they become more and more part of my nature, and they become more part of my swabhava. So if my vasanas are sattvic, I will be a brahmana. Vam vasanas are slightly rajasic, I will be a Kshatriya, and so on. According to my vasanas, my nature will be similarly formed. So each of those vasanas, where they are stored in the infinite layers of this current shariram, and then whenever any outside impulse is attained, any kind of outside stimulus is there, then again though that vasana is revived. That vasana is revived in the form of a thought, vritti. A thought comes to my mind. I have seen a very I've seen a new tea stall, tea and coffee stall, and there I suddenly look at this very attractive coffee, and I want to taste it. So that vritti is formed. From that vritti comes the desire, ichha. Yes, I really want to enjoy this. So from that ichha, then comes the sankalpa or vikalpa, which sankalpa will say, I want to have coffee. Vikalpa will say, these are the kinds of coffee available. 5, 6, 7, 20, whatever. And out of that, I will decide one. That is called Nishchaya. So by my mana and buddhi, which are Sankalpa and Vikalpatmaka, and then mana is Sankalpa Vikalpatmaka, and buddhi is Nishchayatmika. So my mind and intellect will then finally decide, and I will then finally do the action karma. And then again, the cycle will go on and on. So this cycle, karma, phalam, bhogah, samskarah, vasana, vritti, ichha, and then sankalp vikalp nischay. This cycle is the karma cycle through which we form what becomes our nature. हमारा नेचर, हमारा व्यवहार, हमारा स्वभाव वैसा बन जाता है. So according to that स्वभाव, Shastra dictates to us the place where we'll be born, the place, the family that we will be born. So again in the Gita, there also Bhagwan says that whatever the kind of actions that you have done, nothing will go to waste. If you have done some sadhana, that does not mean that the sadhana will be finished. Because Arjuna asked in the 6th chapter that what happens, this mana, this mind is very chanchal, it is very wavering, right? So how do I control that? So the Lord teaches him through abhyas, and he says, what if my abhyasa is not successful in this birth? Then Lord assures him, in the next birth also you will be able to continue from where you will be left. So you will be born in a family where you can continue your vasanas, you can continue your abhyas. And so if your abhyas is sattvic, you are moving towards God, then you will be born in a family of Brahmins, and there you will be able to continue your sadhana. So that is how all our sadhanas, all our previous experiences, they they mature in forming a nature through which we are able to be born in certain families. That is why we say that this Varna Vyavastha is birth based, right? We are born with that, but that does not mean, never does it mean that that you cannot progress, right? So my progress has to be towards finally transcending the gunas. So in Gita, Bhagwan says, Nistre Gunya Bhavajuna, the most beautiful Ashirvad you can imagine. What is that? I rise beyond the gunas. We are all trapped in the gunas, right? We are all trapped in, even Sattva Guna is a bandhana. Even Sattva Guna is also something holding us down towards this worldly, earthly existence. So ultimately, we have to go beyond the release of the gunas. So that is our final goal. But how does the journey begin? Journey begins from tamas to rajas to sattva and then finally transcending. How? Because initially my own interests are at the lowest level where I do everything for myself. Tamas. मेरे लिए ही करना है. I don't want to do everything for the family. And then suddenly I feel after some time, oh no, if I am helping someone in need, I am doing something good for someone, then also I'm getting joy. In fact, that joy is even more than what it was when I was doing it for myself, right? So because of that, I strive to find joy in relationships, right? I get married, I have a child, and I learn to spread my joy. So that joy becomes wider, right? So similarly, I move. So there I'm moving from slowly towards rajas, right? The rajas of the Vaishya, and from there I move to the rajas of the Kshatriya, where I learn to protect people. I learn to take learn to contribute to a bigger part of society. So my own family is not just the center of my existence. My existence now extends to all the people around to me in my kingdom, or the wherever my king is ruling, wherever I can go in the service of the king. That becomes my family, right? And then finally, the whole universe becomes my family. Vasudev Kutumbakam. When I see the whole existence in the whole universe, and I rise to the highest level of sattva. So a person who has very good level of sattva, he will always be looking to help the most number of people. He will feel the pain of the every person around them. Yeah, so someone else is feeling pain, he will have the sympathy, or he will have the connection to feel that pain and help that person. So that is why whoever is higher in sattvam, he will be able to relate to everyone. So these gunas, they decide what we call our svabhava or our nature, and accordingly, nature gives us different duties, right? Everything is, every person has their different duties. So that svabhava becomes something that through which I can I'm given a certain duty. And in all the different shastras, not just in Gita also, it is said that swadharma is the most important thing. You have to do your swadharma. Doing something other than your swadharma is really harmful. Paradharma bhayavaha. Yes, Anita, want to say something?
Yes, sir. So
Mhm.
in that case, even in a Vaishya, there could be a Sattvic Vaishya, Rajasic Vaishya, and Tamasic Vaishya. So
Yeah.
is there any classification like that? The Tamasic one will be bad influence on the society. So
Yeah, you see, in every case, there is no fixed percentage, right? So those percentages again will vary, right? So Vaishya, I can give you examples. Like we see a lot of our Upanishads, that there are kings who gave knowledge to the Brahmins. That kind of descriptions we have, especially in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So there, a king is there who's actually teaching a Brahman, Atma Vidya, the highest knowledge. Hmm? No, Raja Janak, of course, he was a Kshatriya, and he was also considered what we call a Raj Rishi. So he was considered a very knowledgeable person. So there are lot of Janaks also in not just one Janaka. So many others were there that had this, difference in gunas that was moving upwards. Huh? So like we saw Satyakam. So Satyakam in the Upanishads is the son of Jabali, a woman who is you can say selling her body. So but this lad, he gravitates towards jnana. Just because you are being born in a family, that does not mean you don't want to move upwards. But there is a rule here. What is the rule here? This rule is that it should not be for material causes. It should not be for money. So, मैंने doctor बनना है, I want to be a doctor not just because I will get more money, but because I have the aptitude for that. My aptitude should decide if I want a shift in a varna. So that is why even Satyakam also, the guru tested him a lot. He tested him. He just didn't accept him like that. He tested him, but when he saw that he spoke the truth under all circumstances, then he accepted. Yes, you have the mind of a Brahman. That is how he accepted it. So that mobility should be allowed, that is allowed, but the rule is it should not be guided by selfish principles. My Swadharma should always be first on my mind. So we saw Swadharma in the Sadhan Chatushtay also, if you remember, if anyone remembers. Anyone can go back that much? No. So we saw sadhan, shatka sampatti. So there what we saw, titiksha, shraddha, and finally we saw uprati. So uprati was what? What is the definition of uprati? Uprati is swadharma anushtanam eva. So what is uprati? Rising above our common existence. So that can only be done by swadharma anushtan. When I am established in my swadharma, I am able to look upwards towards my true nature, right? I am able to rise above the worldly happenings and raise my mental level to that of a higher level. So that is the essential nature of doing any swadharma. If we are doing our swadharma properly, then that swadharma will help to raise our level so that where we can clearly place in understand our place in the universe and function according to that, do my duties, and yet keep my mind focused on a higher knowledge, a higher knowledge of my true nature. So that true nature will always, of course, be given to us by a guru or through maybe some divine experience of ours after when we have this fierce desire of liberation, mumukshutvam that we call. So that mumukshutvam will lead us to that. But that can happen in whatever varna where we are. So the varna vyavastha or the system of this what we call birth-based gunas, they help us. It helps us decide our nature, and accordingly, within this kind of within the Varnas, there are different, we call jobs, different jatis. So all these jatis, just like Anita was saying, within a Vaishya also there can be different levels of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. So there will be different jatis who will have different kinds of jobs which will relate to their Varna, uh, but will also relate to their proportion of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. So there are uh, technically infinite number of jatis, but that system is born so that we can continue to impart our knowledge and develop it into the future. How? Like someone is a potter, right? So his son will be naturally inclined to be a potter because he's learning from his father. And when the father teaches him, then the child will bring about more innovation. He will bring more innovation into that. So that innovation will result in strengthening our jati system, where more and more jobs will become more and more specialized, more and more specialized, more and more effective, and more productive. So that effectivity, they will all keep on increasing. That is the beauty of our jati system again. So that jati is again a descendant from the Varna Vyavastha only, but there are different jatis. So just the four Varnas then branch out into multiple jatis. And then finally we have the Kula. So the family. So the family also serves as a carrier of what we call tradition. It will be virtues, it will be knowledge, it will be any such thing. So Raghukul Reet Sada Chali Ai, प्राण जाए पर चंदन. So all these are what we call transmissions through the Kula system. Right? So through the Kulas, all the noble virtues, all the good things, all the good samskaras, right? Like whatever we teach the children to, children touch their feet, respect their elders, speak in a very decent tone, don't use bad language. All these things, they come down through our Kula Vyavastha only. So the teacher in the school can only teach you uh, outside knowledge, physical knowledge. He will try to teach you manners also, but most of the manners, or most of the what we call the vyavhara, the the kind of interactions we have with the people around us, that depends a lot on family. It depends a lot on family. So family is the source of lot of our behavior and virtues. So all these three, Kula, Varna, and Jati, they are very beautiful systems which have been corrupted in recent times. Okay, that is agreed. That corruption we are against. So if the British have corrupted it to mix it with what they had, their feudal system. Yeah, so in their feudal system, they have a baron, knights, and so on. So for them, they were higher and the peasants were lower. So they mapped their own system to ours, and then they also, gave the rights to the people who were higher to exploit the lower. And they also themselves were doing that. So they created what we saw. What we can You can read this book by a very well-known author, Pandit Satish Ji. So he has written very well about the criminal tribes that were created. Manisha knows Pandit Ji very well. So uh, so there he has clearly shown how the British made criminals out of the lower castes. So lower castes are not something to be detested or despised. In all our scriptures also, okay, disputable, but still in Purush Sukta also, some say that the Shudra is said to be the feet, the Vaishya is said to be the stomach, the Kshatriya is said to be the hands, and so on. The Brahmin is said to be the head. So that is not lower or higher. We have to remember very clearly that all are interdependent. Without the Shudra, also the society can survive. And we stand on the feet, right? And very beautiful symbology is there of that. The feet represent the essence of our nature. So Satchit Anand Swarupa is represented by the feet only. So my true nature is also represented by my feet. Why? Because the form, the Nam and Rupa are standing on the feet only. The Nam and Rup, the whole body that is standing above, is all standing on the feet. The feet is the Adhara. So nonetheless, whatever be this, in our system, of course, higher and lower you can say, because the transition towards Brahmanism, towards the Brahman, is to go towards intellectual pursuits and finally go beyond the nature of the body. So that is in fact higher. But none of them are despised. They are all understood as essential cogs of society that will be the wheels of society that will make the train of society run. Otherwise, the train will stop or the train will not function properly. So all of them are important parts of society, but the system was corrupted, and we still say that, I'll repeat again what I said earlier. This system is not about equality. This system is about uniqueness. Everyone has unique talents, unique abilities. The utilization of those unique talents and abilities to the place where they are needed the most is what is the basis of Varna Vyavastha. So that is created by Bhagwan himself, the Lord himself, so that society functions smoothly, so that everyone does their duties, no one gets too egoistic about their duties, and they contribute back. So the Brahman is supposed to keep giving back. He himself enjoys very little. The Kshatriya is supposed to look after his praja, he look after the people around him. He's not supposed to forever rebel. Those who rebel, they are they are what we call misfits. They are the wrong people in the wrong position. So they are not worthy examples. There are kings who have, gone in this path and they were destroyed. So when Chanakya was looking after Chandragupta, mentoring him to, become a great king, so he ensured that he maintains that discipline, that Sanyam. Now, without that Sanyam, we are nothing. When we have discipline, we have more freedom. It looks surprising? No. Whenever we indulge in our desires, we become slave to that desire. We become slave to that desire. And our freedom, in fact, becomes interrupted. But the reverse is true when we don't indulge, when we have the power to indulge only when necessary. That increases my freedom. So that is why we say the same in the case of free will also. The more our free will, because the more higher our association. If my association is with my highest knowledge, Brahman, I have infinite free will. So in Western philosophies, they don't accept free will exists. But we have the perfect concept of free will, where whatever my actions, the way I do my actions, they will decide what will be my fate. Then that fate will give me situation. How I perform in that situation is my free will, and that will produce my further situations for me in the coming births. So this kind of nature, this kind of abhyasa that comes from all these different Varnas, they form the basis of a structure, the Varna Vyavastha. And this Varna Vyavastha is then dictated by the different prescriptions of how we should go about with our actions, how to maintain the harmony of our nature, harmony of actions. So that harmony is divided into 5 layers. I'll just touch a little bit upon it because time is pressing, but still we'll just have as much as possible. Okay, so we just so we are given 5 layers of karmas. The 5 layers of karmas. So they are nitya, naimittik, kamya, nishiddha, and prayaschit. Right. So nitya is and naimittik are the karmas that we should do. Kamya are the ones we should reduce as much as possible. Nishiddha, we should never do. And Prayaschit, we should do for correcting any kind of wrong karmas that we have done in our previous time. So let us understand these 5. So Nitya is the daily things that we should do. So the thing that we should do, they are coming under Nitya Karma. So Nitya Karma involves the morning Agnihotra Yajna that we do for all, prescribed for all householders. And that is also followed by the activities that should be done through the day. So that involves the Sandhya Vandanam for all the 3 times and all the scriptural duties. Now, let us not understand this Nitya Karma as just something that is a scriptural duty. A homa or a yagna is not something that you do just putting something in the fire. There is something very deep and very effectual behind that symbolic action. It is a symbol. It's just a symbol of what you should be doing. So what do we do in the morning? We do the Bali Vaishwadeva Yajna. What is the Bali Vaishwadeva? We do a Bali, we do a sacrifice to the fire. So that fire, when we do a sacrifice, we give the five Ahuti mantras, right? So you do the daily five mantras. You do Om Brahmanebhya Swaha, Om Atithebhya Swaha, Om Rishibhya Swaha, Om uh, Pitrebhya Swaha, Om Udebhya Swaha. So all the five kinds of what we call Mahayajnas we do. So what is this Mahayajna? That Nitya Karma that we have to first do, that we offer ourselves to these five duties. We are available to do these five duties, right? So the first one, Brahma. I am offering to the Brahmanas. So what I'm offering to the Brahmanas? My pursuit of knowledge. I should be diligent in my self-study, my self-improval, my learning. Every moment I should strive to learn. That is the meaning of the first ahuti. Not just I put something in the fire. During the day, all my activities should be focused towards the pursuit of knowledge, right? That should be always there on my mind. then, uh, then the Devebhya Swaha. So when I offer to the Devtas. So Devtas are the ones, Brahman and Rishi will be same. Some use Brahman, some use Rishi. That is same. So then Devtas, when I'm doing an ahuti to the Devtas, that means all the forces of nature. I should look after them, right? So whatever nature is around me, I should look after the water reservoirs. I should ensure that all cleanliness is maintained around me, and in every case I should be able to maintain the purity of nature around, right? Grow more trees, look after all the surroundings that are around me. So that is a part of that. Then Atithibhya Swaha. And if any Atithi is Devta. Atithi Devo Bhavaha, we say. So that Atithi or any guest that comes, we should be prepared all the time, any time. So Atithi is what? A Tithi, someone who comes without any date. So suddenly, whenever such a person comes, we should be prepared to welcome him. So that is the power of hospitality. So that is the power of hospitality. So Atithi should become our Devta. Or within us, the power of hospitality should be so vast that the whole universe should be welcome to our abode. Wherever we are, anyone is always welcome. So that is the bhava, or that is the feeling we should have towards all the people around us. And then this bhutas, all the beings around us. No, there is the rule that we feed all the animals around us. So there are crows or birds. We keep some food for them. We keep some water for them. Any cow comes, we keep some roti for that cow and we feed it. And so all the animals that are there, we should take care of them. So that represents all those activities that we should do. And so all these five Mahayagnas, they all represent activities that we should be conscious while doing all the activities around our environment. So when we do these, they are nitya. Nitya means daily. Daily means something that we have to continuously look and practice. And so when we do these, they will bring to me what we call what is the main fruit of that. The phalam we have written here, chitta shuddhi. So it becomes purity to my mind. My mind becomes more purer. I am less disturbed, because whenever I do something wrong, my mind will be disturbed. But when I'm doing my nitya karma, then I'm able to do I'm able to purify my mind for higher pursuits, so in this way, these nitya karmas, they help me to maintain the purity of my mind. And so when I do these, good things happen around me, good things come to me in the future, good situations come to me in my future. And so they are put in the category of compulsory. You have to do them, right? Whenever you don't do them, it will be wrong. So, this is the kind of karma where not doing it will bring bad results. Doing it will become good results. Then, uh, the opposite of that is the Nishiddha karma. Nishiddha karma represents harming. So, I put it at number 4 here. So Nishiddha karmas are those that harm us, right? So these karma harm other people, sorry. So they harm other people around us. So they come under papam. They are the ones that become they become something that will bring very wrong results to us in the future. And this we should never do, right? And the second category that we left out, nemithic. So nemithic are occasional. So they represent all the 16 samskaras that we have to do in our lifetime. So they represent one lifetime of actions. So I'll not go into the full details because it will take up a lot of time. But all these nemithic karmas, they also represent our monthly, our weekly, and annual all functions. So Darsha Purnamasa and so all the kinds of actions that we are all the yagyas or homas that we have to do for certain situations, certain occasions, they come under nemithic. So when we do these, what do they help? They promote a feeling of collectiveness. We do them usually by bringing together. Nitya karma I do alone. I do myself. Nemithic I do with my family or with my kutumbam or with my society, right? So there I bring together, I'm doing a big yagya or I'm doing a big occasion. All people are coming here and they're performing it together. Someone is tying the cloth on the top. Someone is standing up, getting the posts ready. Someone is bringing the bricks for the Havan Kunda. Someone is bringing the samagri and so on. So all of these represent occasions that we do bring together and do certain things which promote the feeling of fraternity, promote the feeling of togetherness, right? And then third one is the kamya karma. The kamya karma, they bring us punyam. They bring us punya. So Nishiddha brought papa, so they bring us punya. So because of that, we are getting a lot of good situations in life. So whenever we do something, or we can also do a homa to produce, fulfill one of our desires, but we should not get trapped too much in our desires. So that is why they are said optional, or we should do less of them. So if we want a son, we will do a putra kameshti yagna and so on. So all the different yagyas that we have to do, they will produce for us the required fruit. So when that fruit is produced, we get punyam and we are able to enjoy the thing we were hoping to. And finally, the final one is the prayashchit or the correctional karmas. So these karmas represent whenever something wrong has happened. So in our system, we don't do like some other systems where they say you do something wrong and you confess and you're forgiven. Or these are the right things these are the wrong things that you can do for the sake of the society or for your community. So no kind of wrong thing is allowed. And for every wrong thing that we do where we have harmed other people or we have hurt other people, then we have to do a very strong number of prayashchit karmas. And through that only we can never remove whatever is coming, but we can reduce the effect, right? So just like a rock is coming towards you, you fire some missile or some arrow onto that and you split into smaller pieces, it'll still come at you, right? But your effect will be reduced. So through prayashchit karma, we are able to reduce. So we have a lot more to discuss. Nitya karma also not discussed in full detail, but because of shortage of time, I've just given you a short overview. So how all these affect our life and how they finally bring the situations in our lives, that we will look in more detail later on. And then we'll finally correlate them again with what we saw the the four varnas. That connection also we will understand. So basically, what we have seen today is that the three gunas that they are the basic gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. They together form within us different kinds of. They form our nature, and through that nature, we are directed towards doing a certain kind of work. That kind of work is allocated by nature as our swabhava and as our swadharma. Swadharma is my duty. So that duty, when I keep on doing, I become an asset to society. I become an asset to society. And when all people do their own duties, the society is strengthened with every strata of society being peopled by the people who are needed there. हर जगह जहां भी जिसकी जरूरत है वहां अवेलेबल है. So that society then functions as a whole unit. That is why moving out from different one Varna to other is not encouraged, right? Extreme cases, it is encouraged. So uh, that beautification of society, that smooth functioning of society can only happen when we understand this Varna Vyavastha and move accordingly, right? So more we will see in the next class. We'll have to wind up for now today. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishichyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat.